Good morning and welcome to Emerson Institute at City of Light. I'm Reverend Dr. Paul Gratz, and it's a delight to welcome you to today's class. This is the class on Everyday Holiness, the Jewish Path of Musar from the Musar Institute. We are looking at class number 4 in our journey featuring chapters 12, 13, 14, and 15. I'm glad that you've joined us today for this class session. So let's prepare as we go into this deeper study. Let's just do so by taking 3 deep breaths, allowing ourselves to just refresh and renew ourselves and bring ourselves back into the present, releasing all distractions and cares of the day. Join with me as we breathe in through our nose, holding for a brief moment and then releasing out through the mouth. Let's breathe together. Breathe in and release. Deep breath in and release. Deep breath in and release. And in this moment of silence, let's set our intentions for that which we desire to transpire in our life during this time that we share together. And so it is. Well, welcome to the Dr. Angelo Pizzello Wisdom Center. We're broadcasting live from our 3rd floor on our campus at City of Light. The Wisdom Center is now open, and we're just delighted to be in this incredible environment of learning and filled and surrounded by all kinds of resources of spiritual enlightenment. This center is a powerful place of learning, education, and experience. For it is not only the largest metaphysical lending library of its type, it is also a center for education. We have library tables here that enable us to sit around and study together, as well as hold classes and workshops and all kinds of informational opportunities for learning. We're excited to make this center such a vibrant part of the ministry here at City of Light. We're glad that you're coming into it, and we welcome you to this experience together. Now, we're looking forward to the upcoming year when more and more people will drop by to check out books for their own personal study, whether it be clergy who are looking to expand their understanding of New Thought and metaphysics, or individual students who have joined the Emerson Institute, or simply seekers of wisdom who say, you know what, I just would love to check out some incredible reading that's available. And we just are looking forward to the days when the library is busy. In the meantime, we are hosting all of our classes through the Emerson Institute from this teaching environment. Well, welcome to Everyday Holiness. As we continue our study of Musar, we're working on the soul curriculum. So what is Musar? But it is the ancient Jewish pathway of spirituality. It's calling us to a journey of ethics, of being that good, solid, well-evolved person. For this is our calling here as we've come into this lifetime to evolve the soul. So how do we do this to the best of our ability? This class is offering you some guidelines, and it's helping us put together a curriculum for our own individual life, for soul evolution, for expansion, for growth of our soul. We're looking at some key elements in the ethics of becoming that person who is truly a light for the world. So as we're working on our soul curriculum, we're going to look at some unique traits. And over the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at a wide variety of them. And at the end, we're going to put together a curriculum for our own spiritual growth of the areas that we feel best that we want to work on. So today, we're looking at some unique things, and one of them is equanimity. Equanimity meaning calmness of the soul. How important it is that we embrace this in part of our spiritual life and journey, that we can learn what it means to be calm in the midst of every circumstance and situation. So it is a call to rise above the good and to rise above the bad, but to remain consistent or calm at all times. Now, we think of our spiritual life, and quite often what happens, we think, well, wouldn't a good, healthy spiritual life just be one where everything is a bed of roses? There are no challenges. Everything is just working together in such gorgeous ways, and we don't have any, shall we say, stones in our pathway or obstacles. Yet here we are in an everyday life. We're human beings facing all kinds of things within our physical realm. Yet as the spiritual person, we're called to have the ability to move through each and every challenge we face with a sense of calmness, with a sense of perfect peace. I love this quote from the book. It says, if you have come to the place in your life where all the waters are calmed and the waves have been stilled, there's a very good chance that you're in a coma, or at least deeply asleep. Because let's just talk about how realistic that is. We live in a world filled with all kinds of challenges, all kinds of surprises and things that of chaotic nature and negativity. It's all around us. So we're going to face all kinds of challenges in our life. And here's the key. We may not be perfect in the journey, and we may falter from time to time, because in Musar, in this spiritual pathway, we're not called to be something other than human. We will face our human nature, our fears and worries and stress. We're going to encounter this. And the calling is not for you to be something other than who you are as a human being. And in our humanness, we may falter, we may make mistakes. We may allow some of these storms of life to come at us and sort of knock us over. We may lose the wind in our sails from time to time, or we may find ourselves just overwhelmed with day-to-day living. And that's okay, because each one of these is an opportunity for us to learn and to hone the fine art of calmness of the soul. For the goal of the spiritual life is not to reach an enlightened state in which all the questions and conundrums of life are all knotted together with finality and we've got all the answers. No, but rather to become such a more skilled person, skilled at the process of living. That's right. That's what we're here to do, to hone the craft of successful living, to work through challenges, to work through obstacles, to work through these things, and to be better and better each time as the result of every challenge that we may have faced in our journey. So first of all, we want to make sure that you're not beating yourself up in any time when you don't feel this spiritual calmness and you've allowed the life just to kind of get in your way, but to learn from that and to evolve from that and to say, this has been an experience for me where I need to work more and more on being calm in the midst of every storm. We have a comment coming in from Dr. David Carter.
Question. So in the first paragraph, when it talks about we're called to rise above the good and the bad, so that means you're not judging anything, it just is.
Yes.
So your response to it is always calmness.
Right. Because we can, as we look at circumstances, we may elevate our energy with, oh, it's all good, and then we crash when some chaos hits us. So it's learning to be constant. So we may say that we can rise above the good and the bad, and we remain constant in it. We're not extra elevated when times are good and then drop down in energy and outlook and attitude when things are not so good. So we just experience this spiritual calm. Steve, do you have a question or a comment?
How do you practice, what you're talking about is kind of detachment. How do you practice that detachment without falling into that, what I call the trap of indifference?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we move forward through our notes today. And so how we can practice equanimity, how we can practice this calmness. So hang on, I'm going to answer that question as we go through our class notes. So let's take a look here as we ask the question, are we really prepared for life's challenges? Proverbs chapter 17, verse 3 says, the refining pot is for silver and the furnace is for gold, but God tests the heart. So what this beautiful proverb is saying to us is this: life, this universe, this that we live in is going to bring us all kinds of opportunities to test, to work through, to accept the challenge and to evolve through all the hardships and difficulties that we may face in this world. And to learn how, most of all, to answer Steve's question, to be at that perfect peace and not be detached, and not be be detached from it, but not indifferent. Thank you, from the experience. Because once we understand that the universe is filled with these daily challenges that are testing the heart, meaning our emotions, our thoughts, everything, our consciousness, it's going to be tested. And why? For the refining, for the improvement. Because everything in life is in this journey. You have come here to this moment in time. You are here as a spiritual being living a physical experience to evolve, and you can best evolve and work through by facing a world of physical limitations and working through them, becoming the victor, working over the tests and challenges that are handed to you. And you grow, you evolve, you expand, you become a soul that is more and more enlightened through each one of these journeys. And what happens is that quite often some of these experiences that test us may knock us from that sense of our inner balance where we think, oh, I'm calm, cool, and collected. I'm good at everything. And then all of a sudden, whoa, something hits us and knocks us off. And okay, we realize, wait a minute, I need to continue to work on this. I need to continue to evolve this. I need to continue to strengthen this, that I am a person of great faith that is unwavering, so that when the winds of change come and hit me, I can deal with them and handle them. So the question we have to ask ourselves is it worth disturbing the calmness of the soul, whatever you're going through? Is it really worth it? Because, so often we think, hey, I can have a beautiful, peaceful day. Yes, I'll face some obstacles and some challenges, but is it worth allowing my life to welcome stress, worry, or fear as I go through this? Or can I go through this challenge? Can I go through this obstacle that's in my pathway and do it with grace, calmness, peace? That's the real art that we want to hone. We want to perfect that craft. That says, you know what? There may be obstacles, but we're not scared, frightened. We're not worried. We're not panicking in any way whatsoever, but we're at this perfect peace. And that perfect peace can come from us knowing that all things are working together for good. So every challenge that you have is working for your good. It's giving you the opportunity to grow and expand and to improve upon. So it is like everyone who goes to a gym and lifting weights. They don't always lift a 2-pound, do they? No, they accept the challenge and the obstacle, shall we say, of saying, can my muscles grow if I lift 20 pounds? Can my muscles grow if I now move to 30 pounds and 50 pounds and 100 pounds and so on as they're building and growing? So every stress, everything that when we say no pain, no gain, everything you're going through in challenges is bringing about a gain. You're building and perfecting and growing through it. So we know that no matter what you're experiencing in life, no matter what challenge you're going through right now, it's an opportunity for you to hone the craft of equanimity, of calmness of the soul. Now, we couldn't get a better opportunity than right now in COVID-19, in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of all of this chaos within the world where so many things have changed. Here's our opportunity to hone the craft of calmness of the soul. Yes, Anne.
I know it's important to be in the moment as much as we can, but how healthy is it to, if we're overwhelmed by something that faces us at the moment, is it healthy enough to be in silence and deal with the feelings or the emotions at a different time when it's not going to affect other people or reflect bad things? Right.
So great question. I appreciate you asking that about being in the moment. Right. So let's just break this down. What being in the moment means is bringing us to this sense of everything is good right here and right now. Because what's happening in our life when we're facing chaos and problems, it's usually our thought has gone to worry, fear, what if? This is what I'm afraid of. This is what's coming down the road. That's usually what's disrupting our perfection of this perfect moment right here and now. It's, I don't have, I lack, something's missing. So what happens is we we move down to this place where, whoa, let's come back to right here in this moment. So in a case where something like all of a sudden you receive a bill and you're questioning, how am I going to pay for this? And I don't have the money. And then you're like, because how am I going to pay for this tomorrow, the next day? But right now where I am, do I need to pay for this? No, I don't. But I'm worried about how I'm going to do it next. So right now, everything is just at perfect peace. So let's be in the moment right now, because I have everything that I need right now. Now, further down the road, 10 minutes from now, 100 minutes from now, 5 days from now, we want to go to those places, and that's where our worry and fear is. But if we come back to this moment of right here, right now, I have oxygen, I have health, I have life, my blood is flowing, what do I need? I have everything right here in this now. And that's the place where we begin to find that calmness, to be present in the moment. Because what's disrupting our calmness is our fear around the calm of what's out there, what we're encountering next, what tomorrow may bring, what the next 5 minutes may bring, what the next thing. But right now, we can be at perfect peace. So there may be a lot of emotions that you're feeling as we go through COVID-19. But right now, you're healthy. Right now, you're safe. Right now, people who are viewing this class and who are in this classroom, you don't have COVID-19. So in the moment, we're like, I'm at perfect peace. Now, we may worry about, well, I could have COVID-19 next week, or I could go get COVID-19 next month, but see, that's where we're not in the moment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So everything that's taking us out of the moment is something that has nothing to do with the moment, okay? So now let's just say, well, wait a minute. What if the moment is something so traumatic as your loved one has passed away? But in that moment, you're all thinking, well, wait a minute. That transition is beautiful for that person. That joy, yes, I'm missing that, but in this moment, I am okay. I'm alive. Yes, I will experience loss. Yes, there will be sadness. Yes, all those kind of things. That's further down the road. But right now, where am I? I can be filled with gratitude that I am alive, and gratitude for that person's beautiful transition. All these things can bring us to a sense of calmness if we're in the moment and not thinking what's coming next, because the what's coming next is so disruptive to our emotions and disrupts our calm. So what we want to understand is when you have arrived at this calmness, at equanimity, your soul does not feel the honor deriving from one who honors you, nor the embarrassment arising from one who insults you. So here's what the author is saying. When you're in calmness, it doesn't matter if someone exalts you and says, you're the best thing since sliced bread, you're most fantastic, and you just, woo. No, you remain calm. Your head doesn't get big, you don't swell your head, your ego doesn't rise up, your pride doesn't flourish. You just remain calm and receive that. And the same thing when they insult you and say, you're the biggest idiot I've ever encountered, you're stupid. That doesn't bother you either. Because equanimity is this calmness that says good or bad. It doesn't matter what's going on, whatever we've labeled as an insult or an honor that is given to us, some glory or something that demeans us. It doesn't matter. The soul knows and is at calm, at peace. David.
So in years past, when we were in a board meeting and we looked at our finances and our bills exceeded our resources, you would say, but do we have what we need for today? Right now. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we have what we need for today.
Right.
That was very calming for me, to be reminded that what you need for today you have, but tomorrow take care of itself.
Exactly. When we live in the moment, in the here and the now, that's how the peace can happen within our lives. Yes, if you didn't hear it, David brought up that in our board meetings here at City of Light, there's been times when the bills were greater than the revenue coming in. And we just had to pause and just acknowledge, do we have what we need for today? Yes. Further down the road, okay, we can worry about that, but what do we have for right now? So from that sense of being present in the moment, calmness begins to grow, resonate within us, so we can face the next step much easier. Because we've just been common. We didn't welcome fear or panic or worry or stress or all those kind of things. We just said, you know what? We're grateful. We have everything that we need for this moment. So here's the key, as Steve's question came out. The key is to distance yourself. To distance ourselves from anger, pride, all these things that can be a stimulus that can disrupt our perfect peace. So again, there's all this great advice that sometimes it's great to distance yourself from the news, distance yourself from social media, distance yourself from negative people, distance yourself from experiences that can be disruptive to the perfect peace of your soul and your mind and your consciousness. So what we want to make sure is that we have this strong inner witness within us, an inner knowing within us that enables us to see things just as they are. And what will happen is through meditation, through being in the moment, through being present in the now, in that moment where we just know, I have everything I need right now. Oh, what about that bill that's coming up next month? Oh, right now I have everything that I need. What about, the scare that, my family has cancer and in 5 years I may die of cancer? Well, wait a minute. I have everything that I need right now. You see, all those things that are out there, we begin to perceive an inner witness, an inner knowing that says, I begin to see things clearly. And I go like, I don't need to worry about that bill next month. I don't need to worry about that family heritage of having cancer 5 years down the road. I need to worry about that right now. I just need to be at perfect peace. And I welcome this perfect peace, and I see things just as they are. There are things out there in the future that carry worry and fear. Steve.
So what do you say to somebody who does now have cancer? We say, well, my family has cancer, that means I'm going to get cancer, but no, I don't have that, I'm not going to worry about it. But what about those who, well, yeah, I do have cancer right now. What do I do then?
Exactly. And in these moments, no matter what we're facing, how do we encourage them to have this perfect peace and calm as they're going through this? Now, the bottom line in all of our spiritual life is the question, what's the worst thing that could happen? And when we stop to think in life, what is the worst thing that could happen to us? Well, people say, I die. But did you die? The soul is eternal. You never die. So what's the worst thing you could do? Well, I'm going to miss my family. But are we not knowing that in consciousness we're all connected, we're all one? So do we ever disassociate or break away from family and relatives and those? And if we're a firm believer in the spirit of eternity, that we're all together, we will be together, we always have been, always will be, and we are now, but we always will be in the future too. So what brings us to this sense of like, why am I worrying? Yes, I may have cancer, but do I believe in eternal life? I'm living. I am not dying. The body may die, but I'm not dying. So what's the worst thing that could happen? What is really the worst thing? Oh, you got a bill. You said, what's the worst thing that could happen? Oh, well, I'm going to lose my house. Okay, so is that the worst thing? Or would you find other housing or accommodations? Could God provide for you other ways? So we have to break it down. And when we realize, wait a minute, there isn't anything. There is nothing in my life that could be the worst thing, because everything falls together with goodness in it. Steve.
Well, it's one thing to say, okay, the soul never dies. And they even believe the soul never dies. But when you get to that point of actually feeling the reality of that, I mean, there's thinking I know, and then there's actually knowing. There's this idea of, oh, if there was some situation that required an emergency, like someone's life needed to be saved or whatever, in some kind of fast action event, yeah, I know exactly what to do. But then when that moment finally arrives, it's, oh my God, what should I do? No, I can't go in there and do that. I can't do this. It's one of these like proximity things where it's like, if it's out there, I know exactly how real it is, what to do, blah, blah, blah. When it's right here upon me, it's like I go into a different state of consciousness, and all of a sudden anything I thought about is gone, and now I don't know what to do. And that's why I bring up the issue of, there's, I don't have cancer, but I could have cancer in the future because my family has. Where it's like, okay, what if I do have cancer? Will the talk of, well, my soul is eternal, I can't die from cancer, or, the worst thing that can happen is death. Because we always entertain these ideas of, well, if I die, I die. But if you know at that moment, yes, you are about to die, things are different.
Well, I'd like to say that as we learn to appreciate the birth into eternity, rather than seeing the word death as a finality, there is no finality for us in life. There is no finality. And when we let go of that, wait a minute, there's no finality? So for me, I'm a personal believer in that I will see all of you. After I transition from this world, we will see each other again. In some context, in some form, we may have been together in the past, and we're together now, and we may be together again in the future. I firmly believe that. So there is no finality. Is there really a goodbye? Or is there just this continuation? Has the soul been on this evolutionary plane all along? So here's where we go. When we are afraid of death, when we think of death as finality, and when we are holding on to this physical life more important than the embracing the spiritual life. So when we understand that my soul is eternal and I live eternally, I'm an eternal being. I'm just in this life for a temporary moment. There's no finality here. I'm going on, and I will continue to go on, and I will exist for all of eternity. Because as the soul is, this life force is energy science tells us never goes away. It may change form, but it's always present. Your life force, your soul energy is always present and always will be. And when we look at that, we release all the sense of the word finality. And that finality is what entertains us fear, worry, stress, the end of life. It's not the end of life. It's the end of this, Now, I can think of these days when my kids were in school and they were thinking, the finality of third grade. It's going to end. Oh, how terrible. And I was like, okay, but honey, there's fourth grade. There's something else coming and you'll see your friends in fourth grade again. Oh, okay. Just because school is coming to a close and it's the end of third grade doesn't mean it's the end. And when they experience that, it's an ongoing journey, that changed. Third grade is ended, but fourth grade's available. Fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade. College is available. Being with my friends is available. Even spending a lifetime with all my buddies and hanging out with them is available. There's all kinds of possibilities available. So when we let go of the consciousness of finality, that there's some sort of end. In life, it's an ongoing thing. There is no end. Does that help?
That helps.
Yes. David.
And that's why it's important to grow your spiritual life. One way is to have a daily spiritual practice. So when these things come, you're better able to handle it.
Right.
It's not saying that in a moment you might panic, but you fall back on what you know, whatever
right.
Spiritual, wherever you are spiritually, you're going to fall back on that in that moment.
This is why it's so important that we are working on our soul curriculum through Musar, and we find our weak points, and we say, I need to work on this one. And one may be calmness of the soul, that we need to check that box and say, that's where I need to really put a lot of energy in. I need to evolve the soul so the soul has experienced this sense of calm. It just really resonated with me saying, I want to be calm at all things, because I firmly do believe all things are working together for my good. And I want to be able to see that at all times, so that even though there is going to be emotional experiences and challenges and roadblocks and all these kind of things, I still have a sense of calm that sustains me through them. Brenda.
You have to come to a point where you can believe that you have always been here.
Yes, that's helpful, isn't it?
And if you believe that, then you know that you've already been through everything there is to go through. And this is just another part of that. And you're not going to change, because you've always been here and you're always part of God. So God is in everything that happens to you
Beautiful.
for a reason,
Yes.
so that you can grow into that calmness.
Because that's what you came to do, is to grow. So how silly for us to think, oh, life was going to be a bed of roses and there'd be no challenges to grow through. That would be like somebody saying, I'm going to the gym and I'm only going to lift 2 pounds, but I'm expecting to be Hercules. I'm expecting to be buff and muscular and all this kind of things, but I'm only going to lift 2 little pounds. Well, wait a minute. No. To get there, you have to go through the challenge of working the muscles to become the Hercules that you intended to be. So it is that every one of us are going through these experiences. They're gifts. Really, they're opportunities for us to then do what we came here to do, and that's to grow the soul. That's where we understand our spiritual purpose here on earth. Our spiritual purpose is not just to go through life enjoying all the limitations of this world. And I mean, enjoying is a hard thing to do, but we sometimes do like to enjoy. We say, oh, I only have so much, but I'm enjoying my pain and sorrow around only having so much. I enjoy my lack. I enjoy my suffering. I enjoy my victimhood. We sometimes coddle these things and baby them. And I was, why? Why would we enjoy limitation when we realize there is no finality, there is no limitation to the spiritual being? You have been, you are now, and you always will be. And when you realize that, that's so beautiful. Do you remember the story I shared in one of my talks a few Sundays ago from Wayne Dyer, telling about 2 twins in the womb having a discussion about birth? And one saying, I can't wait. There's going to be life outside of the womb. And the other, there's no life outside of the womb. What are you talking about? We only know this womb. Well, I believe that we're going to be birthed onto it. What? There's no birthing process. How will we even exist without the womb of the mother? And like, mother? What's a mother? Well, I've never seen a mother. I can't even see where she is. And the whole dialogue of these 2 babies in the womb and just questioning everything about the next life of birth. And so it is in the same journey of our own life. We sometimes do the same for death, and we wonder, oh, death can't be anything wonderful. It can't be anything beautiful. There won't be any experiences there. How can we exist? How will we ever live? Where is God? I've never seen it. All these questions. But when we look at death as a birth into the next, a birth into the next phase of this ongoing evolution that we're going through, how beautiful that is. And that when we look at life as an ongoing experience, you probably have already experienced several births. Births of coming into this world, and births of leaving this world, and births of coming into this world, and births of leaving this world, but always birthing something new in this journey where there is no finality. No finality. Isn't that beautiful? Jesus said, I've come that you might understand, comprehend, and embrace eternal life. Understand it. And that's our problem, is that we just look so much from the physical world. So we're all worried and caught up about the limitations of our body with an illness, the limitation of our finances, the limitations of our prosperity and success, the limitations of relationships. We look at everything from the perspective of limitation, and in that limitation, we're saying there's some finality. We're going to lose. We're going to miss out. There's an end coming. It's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing thing. It's ever moving on, and with new excitement and new adventures. I'm so glad I didn't stay in kindergarten. I'm so glad I left kindergarten. Actually, a 64-year-old man in kindergarten might not be the appropriate thing. But I'm really thrilled that I had enough sense to say, it's time to move on. I'm so glad I didn't stay in 6th grade. Again, a 64-year-old man in 6th grade might be a little bit, awkward. I'm glad I didn't stay as a senior in high school. I'm glad I didn't stay in college. I'm glad I didn't stay as 40. Now, Pastor, wait a minute, let's back up on there. We're kind of glad we might have liked to stay at 40. No, because there's experiences I'm having now I never could have had at 40. My father would say, I've never been this age before in this lifetime. I've never been this age. So I'm experiencing something brand new. Now, I've already been 40, but I've never been 64 until today. Or whatever, to this moment. So I'm living something new and exciting and new opportunities to live life this way. I've already lived life as a 40-year-old man. How am I going to live life as a 64-year-old man? Well, let's experience it. Let's enjoy these new opportunities that are available to us. Because what we're losing, when we hold on to this finality, and there's so many people who are like, I'm afraid to grow old. I'm afraid to move on. I'm afraid to celebrate my 50th birthday because it's finality. I've left the 40s and, but what's ahead is so adventurous and full and exciting and rewarding. And even to the point of saying, growing old and transitioning from this life, wow, are you ready for the next adventure? Are you ready to move on to what is coming to you next? How exciting. And this is where we don't speak enough about the joy of this ongoing eternal life, that there's going to be different phases. Yes, you had a great time in kindergarten. Yes, you had a great time in 6th grade. Yes, you had a lovely time as a senior in high school. Yes, college was great. And yes, this life is wonderful. But what's next? All kinds of possibilities. And even greater as we make use of kindergarten, make wise use of 6th grade, make wise use of the senior year, make wise use of college, because we built on it, right? And it made the next phase even better. So do you understand why it's important to evolve the soul here and now? Because you're going to invest in what's next and making it even better. Wow. If you think you're fabulous now, and I do, I think you're pretty fabulous. Just think how much more fabulous you're going to go as you continue to build on that fabulousness, shall we say. It only gets better. If we look from this perspective, our eternal life is only unfolding the better and the better and the better and the better. It's coming more and more to us. And isn't that exciting? So it's exciting to live every single day, no matter what age we may be, and not look at the finality of youth or the finality of being 40 once, because there's all kinds of opportunities for you now in this new moment. And welcome the newness. Welcome the fresh opportunities to experience life from this perspective. So the key is we want to distance ourselves so that we might have a clear, through meditation, perception of things. And we're perceiving that, well, number one, as we've been talking, no finality. There's nothing final, So, it's, certainly a discussion that my partner Robert and I have had, certainly as we go through facing his life transition. And this is the beauty of, you're going on ahead, and I'll catch up with you in time, and I'm going to see you again, and we're going to celebrate. There's no finality. This may be just goodbye for the moment, shall we say, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you later. In God's realm, we don't know what later is in time, because God doesn't know time like we know time. And so, what may be a twinkling in an eye could be 100 years. What may be a twinkling in an eye could be 5 seconds. It's just, time is only up to us as we perceive it in this world, where the divine doesn't see time in that same way as we do. So here it is that we understand that the opportunity is just to celebrate and keep our focus on the sense of whether it's good or bad, there's just a calm that's there that resonates with us. And the best way to maintain that is to be in meditation and to be in the now, to be in the moment, to be present, and to enjoy each present. Because here's our problem. We don't even enjoy this moment right now. Because right now, we're quite often lured into thinking, what am I going to do from an hour from now? What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do next month? How will I face 2021? What am I going to do next year? And we didn't even enjoy this moment, So many kids, I will tell them as you're growing up, enjoy your life. Enjoy it. Oh, but I can't wait till I'm 16 and I can drive. Enjoy 15. You're not going to be 15 again, but enjoy 15 now. Oh, I can't wait till I'm 21. I can party, I can be independent, but enjoy being a kid. Enjoy being a teenager. Enjoy this moment. Value it because you won't get it back again. And you know how it is? We're always thinking further down the road, what the next is. And then we get scared and we got to be a certain age where they, now I can't even enjoy the now because I'm wishing I had the past before you were wishing you had the future. How about we just be in the now? and just welcome and celebrate and love this moment. It's a wonderful moment. It's a beautiful moment. You've not had this moment before in this lifetime. This is your first moment. You've not had that breath before. You just took it now. What a wonderful breath you just took. This air that you breathed, what a wonderful gift. You just got it now. Enjoy this moment because you've not been in this moment before, in this pattern, in this lifetime. So each moment offers its own rewards and challenges and uniqueness and experiences. Value it. So when something comes in our pathway that may seem like bad news or disrupting us, value it too and say thank you for this learning experience because I'm honing the craft of calmness of the soul in the midst of this. And
this brings up for me trust. And as I think about trust and as I think about I've been learning to trust myself, to trust in myself and know that I'm enough.
Right.
That brings me a degree of peace. Knowing that no matter what comes up, and that's due to my spiritual practice too, no matter what comes up, I can handle it. It may not be perfect, but I can trust myself. And that's what comes up for me with what you're saying now. So.
And I just want to take a moment to witness to the evolution of your soul that I've experienced. You are an evolving soul in this lifetime. And I so appreciate observing, watching the evolution of your life through the Emerson Institute, and through the education that you're doing, and through the practice that you put out. You know, this is just beautiful. We've seen so many things of aha moments coming to your life that you expressed in classes. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's been beautiful to see that, as well as the evolution of each and every one of our students, and you who are joining us through live streaming as well. Those that have had the encounter or the experience to interact with personally, I value your evolution. Keep it up. I value the experience of observing, seeing the growth and development of your soul and its expansion. Continue to do so. It's beautiful. You're fulfilling your calling and your life purpose here. So let's move on. A person who has mastered peace of mind, well, tell you what, you've gained everything because everything is peace of mind. Wait a minute, really? Everything is peace of mind? Let's just say, what? I'd like to have a 10-room mansion. Is that peace of mind? Well, not really, because the 10-room mansion, then I've got house repairs and bills and expenses. So, okay, well, how about I need 5 cars? Okay, so you have wonderful, luxurious cars that are fun to drive, but then what about maintenance and upkeep and all those kind of things? So have I attained everything with these material possessions? No. But when have you attained everything? When you have calmness of the soul. That's when you've attained everything. That no matter what you're going through, no matter what the experience, good or bad, there's this even keel, calm sense of perfect peace that's going through your life. For the essence of a person of faith is equanimity, is this calmness of soul. And that's one of the key things that we all should strive for, because you know what? When you have a calmness of soul, your boat ain't rocked, shall we say. You know? You can sail through the storms, but that's all right. My boat ain't rocking. You know, I'm calm. I'm sailing through it. Yeah, the waves are tossing me around, but for me, I'm just calm in the midst of it. You know, Jesus experienced that as he was in the storms on the Sea of Galilee, and the disciples are in panic, fear. Oh, my Lord, the world is falling apart. We're going to drown. The waters are chaotic and tossing us to and fro. And what is Jesus doing? Sleeping. Calm, at rest, perfect peace, equanimity. Let's move on as we look to the next chapter on honor. Many of us feel we're born with a clipboard and have been assigned to the task of evaluating everyone we meet. How true that is. We kind of look and go, with judgment. We look at one another. We evaluate everybody. We classify them. We label them, don't we? We encounter people and we like to, this desperate, I need to pigeonhole you somehow. So what's one of the first things we may ask someone? What do you do for a living? Hi, my name is Paul, and nice to meet you. Now, what do you do for a living? Okay, we start categorizing them. You're jobless, you're an executive, you're a waiter, or you're a flight attendant, or you're a corporate CEO. Okay, well, we've classified people in our judgments, and we begin to then put people into different places, don't we, based on stereotypes and our ideas around that. But what we're called in this spiritual life to do is to honor, respect, and offer dignity to every human being, no matter who they are. So, would you treat the janitor the same as you treat the CEO? With the same honor, same respect, and same dignity. How important that is that we understand. Would you treat the owner of the restaurant the same as you would treat the waiter? Would you treat the pilot the same as you treat the flight attendant? And vice versa. So you might look at every scenario, and what our calling is to offer the same honor, respect, and dignity to each and every person. How about to our homeless community? Do we offer the same honor, respect, and dignity that we do to those who are gainfully employed? So it's not that we're not called to do this because of the greatness of achievements or how someone has behaved, but because they are a home to a soul that is inherently holy. And realizing that we look. I love to have a little exercise where I'm just sitting and doing some people watching, and as they walk by, I'm just seeing their soul and reading their soul with love. I see that soul. Wonder what challenges or chaos or obstacles they're going in life, but I just speak now grace and mercy for that soul. Oh, I see this soul. Look at that soul coming. And maybe the body is carrying the soul in a way that's feeling discouraged and sad. And you want to uplift that soul and speak to that soul and minister to that soul. There's people buzzing by you in the highway, driving frantically, and you speak to that soul and think, what is that soul going through? They're worried, they're stressed, they're late, they're impatient, all these things, and you just want to speak calm to the soul. Because it's an exercise of just recognizing we are all one, and we are all souls, just moving through this life experience in these containers that we call bodies. We want to honor all people because simply they're the handiwork of God. That's right. Every single human being is the handiwork of God. And who are we to judge and say, well, this is a better handiwork than the other? Who's to say this is a better work of God than the next person? You see, so often we want to get caught up in judging people and evaluating people, labeling people, when we're called to offer honor and dignity and respect equally to everyone. We often judge others because we are absolutely uncertain about ourselves. It's our own insecurities that cause us to judge. We're judging because we like to maybe make someone be seen in our mind as less than, so that we might elevate ourselves mentally. And so what happens is we become critical of others. I can tell you this in my own personal life. Before I came to the point of really loving and accepting myself for who I am, I was very critical. But when I had this wonderful revelation of self-acceptance and self-love and began to take time out to accept myself for who I am and love myself completely, that spirit of criticism and the critical nature began to dissipate and go away. It changed because I didn't see myself as less than or greater than, but equal to. So what we think or how we act towards others speaks of actually what's going on inside our lives. So as we become judgmental of others, it's because we are dealing with something within our own life that we need to actually clear up, work through, or accept. Now in Musar, we're called to look for soul traits that we can elevate and improve, which means that we need to awaken to our own imperfections. So as we're looking through each one of these personal traits, equanimity, patience, compassion, generosity, on goes the list, we're going to awaken our own imperfections, not so we feel bad about ourselves, but so we have our checklist of saying, here's the things I want to work on. I want to elevate this. I want to elevate my calmness, or I want to elevate my generosity, or I want to raise up, increase, or heighten my compassion, or my ability to honor and see others with respect. So honor is really a state of awareness and a deed or a state of action or acting out. It's not enough that you feel reverence towards a person, but you have to act reverently, treating all beings with the utmost respect. It's not one thing just to say, oh, yes, I treat everybody equally. And then when it comes down to it, you don't act it out. Because let me tell you this, how you act is the greatest expression of what you believe. We say that every Sunday. So how you act is really telling us what you believe. And in our world today, we've got a lot of people saying, oh, I believe in equality and freedom for everybody, but not for you, not for you, because I want to make sure it's equality and freedom for everyone like me. Instead of opening up their life up to say, I agree in equality and freedom and liberty and rights for every single human being, because I see them as the handiwork of God.
So,
yes.
So that's like judging with righteous judgment?
Judging?
In the sense that you see everyone as a
yes.
being versus...
Through a right thinking. Yes. Looking at everyone and expressing a complete love and acceptance. Seeing the beauty. This is again the spirit of Namaste. The God in me sees, acknowledges, recognizes the God in you. And when we are in that context of I recognize the God in you, and that's the wonderful work that we need to do. So we're encountering someone who's challenging, their personality may be a little quirky, but we just got to pause and we just say, I see the God in you. When we see someone who is maybe we want to judge as lazy or less than or not as effective, we see the God in them. When we want to judge someone who's arrogant and pompous and too much into themselves, we see the God in them. You see, that's our calling. And when we come from that perspective in life, seeing the God, the soul, the essence of the divine within everyone, we then find the ability to treat one another with honor. David.
Okay, so how do you approach or help a person? Let's say you see the news and someone has shot up a shopping mall. Okay, you understand that God is still in there. Maybe God is asleep, but God is still in there. But how do you explain that to somebody else? Because in that moment, they see that this person, obviously who's disturbed, has shot, let's say shot and killed 20 plus people and injured who knows how many. How do you help other people still see that that person has value, that the same God in you is in them?
Because we understand we're all created in the likeness and image of God.
Right.
Our challenge is not everybody has accepted that and understood that they are in the likeness and the image of the divine and that there's good. So that young man, shall we say in your illustration, who shot someone, will say, the challenge for them is they couldn't see the God in themselves. Right. So our calling is to acknowledge that young man, as we send him off to prison, shall we say, needs to be restored, not imprisonment. And I think what our real calling in this world is to restore people, to rebuild, to help them reconstruct the true divine nature and awaken to it within themselves, to be able to see it within themselves, because it's there. And when we see it first, we can help others see it as well. So I look at every person who's made mistakes or fallen short of the glory of God, who has missed the mark, who has sinned or done something wrong, whatever title you want to give it, there's still a divine nature within them. The challenge is they haven't been able to awaken to it themselves. And so they act out in their own inability to love themselves and to love others. So our real work on this planet is to help others to see the divinity within themselves by us first acknowledging the divinity in ourselves and us helping others around. I see God in you. I see good in you. I see great things in you. We need to be speaking that word of affirmation to one another and helping one another elevate. Scripture says, build up the body of Christ. Let's build up the body of consciousness, build up the body of awareness. And we need to be doing that with our children, with our teenagers, with family. And this is one of the great things that we can do in our world, is to help and encourage others to see the good, the God in themselves.
So when you're sitting on that bench and your souls are walking past you, and you focus on the soul traits of each person that walks past you, in that process of you acknowledging that, you're calling forth the good in them?
Yes, and saying, I see this soul, and although it may be appear wounded or hurt, I see the good in it, that this soul is no different than my soul. I'm not better than. I'm not less than. It's no different. We're all one, and in that oneness there is an equality for us. So we begin to love and see the good, the God in them.
And as you see that in that person, you're calling it forth, and their soul responds to your soul?
I feel that. I feel that certainly I can offer this expression of love that radiates as a vibrational frequency that goes out even as they're passing. I speak their highest and best for them, and word that goes forth in belief for them. How many times, somebody buzzing by you on the freeway and swerving in and out, and, and they're rushing their hurry, speeding along, and you just whisper, bless that soul. That soul is right now unaware of the highest and best is unfolding for their life, and they're in panic and fear and stress and worry and whatever it is, because they feel this need to speed and create disruption and challenges on the freeways. But I speak for their highest and best. I speak the love, not a judgment like, oh, that idiot, but speak the love. It'll keep us from road rage, responding in any kind of rage, but just loving one another. So here's the key. Find something to honor within everyone. Develop a habit of offering honor to others. It comes from love your neighbor as yourself, and if you haven't loved yourself, you're going to have a difficult time with this. So it begins by first loving yourself, and when you can take that self-love and give it to others, well, that's what happens, because in each case, we are remembering that we are all created in the image and likeness of God. So as we think about honor, where we heard this in Scripture, but in the Old Testament, the Hebrew writings, honor your mother and father. Honor, offer respect and dignity. People have said to me, you know what, I can't really do that. I'm having a hard time because my parents were cruel. They were not very loving. They were not very good at parenting. They weren't there for me. They abandoned me. All these excuses. But I'm saying the Scripture didn't say you love them. It said honor them. And we can honor a lot of people without loving them and loving what they've done. But we can honor. That means give respect and dignity, giving a sense of true respectfulness to them as for who they are as your parent. So a lot of people who've had issues with their mother and father, the parents, parental issues, they struggle with that passage of Scripture. It just calls you just to honor and revere them, respect them. That's what it's all about. Even if you didn't love them or you didn't feel they loved you. Starting point is you're called to honor everyone, to honor those who've gone before you, to honor those and offer dignity and respect at all times. And
so all these attributes, but right now as you're speaking, it reminds me that they're all good attributes to have for leadership. And that's why we need to look at our governmental leadership, and so anyone else that's leading us in a committee or anything like that, to look for these attributes, and when they're there, it works beautifully.
I would love it if we did a little Musar test when we went to everybody who we were electing to office to lead us. Yes, and say, do I see honor? Do I see respect? Do I see equanimity? Do I see all these kind of characteristics somewhere within their life? Now, not everybody's going to be perfect at all of them, but are they working on it? Do they acknowledge it? Is there a sense of humility even that would say, you know what, I need to work more on X, Y, or Z? So let's move on to our next chapter. Thank you. Let's go on. The next chapter is all about simplicity. Do you realize, we've got to get this in focus, we're only passing through this life. What were we doing? We're passing through it. Because again, there's no finality. So there's more yet to come, but we're passing through. So as we pass through, we have to ask ourselves, what all are we concerned with. There's a beautiful illustration of a man came to visit someone in another town. And the man said to this person, well, I've come to your home, but where's your furniture? And the person said, well, I'm just passing through. And he turned to the other person and said, well, where's your furniture? Oh, he said, I'm just passing through. Ah, do you get it? He's passing through town. The owner of the home is saying, I'm just passing through life. So we may think about all the possessions and material things that we need to collect in this world. Yes, they may bring us joy and all those things, but sometimes we get so caught up in the materialism of life that we lose the fine art of just simplicity in living. Simplicity is really what's so important for us, for the way the soul runs right through this material realm is what we're called to live. As we move through this material world, we're passing through life with a purpose of, number one, evolving the soul, not gaining material items or things or possessions. Some people think I'm here on earth and I'm here on this planet to obtain as much as I can, to get as much money, as much material things, much homes and cars and possessions and all these kind of things. I'm here for that. That's not why you came. You're here to evolve the soul. So sometimes in that process of soul evolution, simplicity might be one of our greatest gifts that we can work on. Our whole journey towards wholeness can take place only through the action in this physical world. So our life is meant to be a journey of perfecting the soul, not wasting time on earth attending to its distractions. Again, I don't know how many people say, oh, you know what, I'd love to be in classes, but you know, I'm going off to the cabin, I'm going over here, I'm going there, I'm going to be enjoying myself. You know, life is meant to be enjoyed. Yes, it is. But not to be so consumed with the distractions that we're not working on the spiritual life and developing the spiritual life, growing in wisdom, growing in insight, evolving the soul. And sometimes we can get so distracted with the possessions and material things and material activities of the world, we lose sight of what we really came here for. Let me tell you, that would be the number one thing that adversarial thinking can do to us. If you want to call a devil, a Satan, or adversarial thinking that is destructive, is for you to lose sight of why you came here and you waste your time. You lose sight. I came here to perfect the soul, to evolve. And when we say, well, no, I came here to be busy with material things and material possessions and collecting this and collecting that. Now, the issue is not things. So let's make sure that we bring balance to this. Because even in Judaism, there's a great value to things of the world, but holding this thought that everything ultimately stems from God, and there's value in every possession and everything, because everything is coming to us from God as blessings. Therefore, everything must have some goodness. So it's not that possessions are the thing. It's just that that we want to make sure that which we have, are we putting it to good use so that they are instruments of the evolution of the soul. Let's just say this. Say you've come into some great wealth. Now, is it all about the material idea of hoarding and holding onto the great wealth, or putting that great wealth to use and sharing in generosity, which evolves the soul through the spirit of giving and sharing and empowering others and being gracious and kind, all these kind of things. So the material blessings that you've been given are there for a purpose, to also be aids in evolving the soul. So when things are been given to you in possessions, share them. I encourage people to tithe on everything. Tithe on your home. Have you been offering hospitality, sharing, in some way or another? How can you give a portion of that house to be a blessing to the world? Your car. Someone asks for a ride. You go, oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't pick up strangers. I don't take strangers. I wouldn't take you across town. No, I'm not going to go out of my way. Wait a minute. You've been blessed with this vehicle. How about you share a portion of it by giving someone a ride to church or to the subway or whatever it may be that's going on in the world, that their request is. So here's why it's important. Ways that we have been blessed with things to help evolve the soul. So things are not bad. Having things is not bad. As long as what we're realizing, it's not just possessing them and owning them, but owning them for a purpose to share, to bless others with. So everything that comes our way is meant to be a part of the journey of the evolution of the soul. So let's look at ways that we can let the soul evolve through all the wonderful things that we've been blessed with. The challenge is that we become over-involved with material things. Seek what you need and give up what you don't need, so you're not overly involved in becoming involved with material things. For in giving up what you do not need, you're going to actually learn what you really do need. You're going to discover what is it you really do need in life. I've encountered some of the wealthiest people in this world, have the privileges of sharing experiences with billionaires, only to find out that a lot of the possessions that they have become burdensome and become more time-consuming. They become so evolved in caring for them or managing them and owning them that they've missed out on the opportunities that they afford for evolving the soul and helping them to be who they're called to be. So sometimes we can get so involved in material things that we lose sight of who we are. So the gift of simplicity is a wonderful spiritual attribute that says, I realize these things can be a blessing. I can use them to bless others. I know that I'm in divine flow. So when I ask myself, how much do I really need? I don't need to hoard, because things can be received, they can give out, and more will come to me. So there's no hoarding. I can live simplicity and knowing that blessings are coming to me at all times in unique and powerful ways. 3 levels of simplicity are this. 1, when we have a mindset that I can acquire less. The mindset of acquisition can leave us constantly feeling pangs of need. Because let me tell you this, when you're in the mood to create acquisitions in your life, before you know it, everything is not enough. More is not enough, you know? You're like, okay, I want to acquire 2 cars. Well, but then there's 3 cars. But how about 4 cars? How about 5 cars? You know, and you've never have gotten the need, because the spirit of acquiring things becomes greater and greater and greater and greater. It just moves on and on and on. And finally, you never find satisfaction. The Talmud says that one can become actually ravenous in this. And that what we need to maybe do is to understand, to be satisfied, is to starve that spirit of acquisition. And ask ourselves, wait a minute. What might I be willing to give up? And to live this simple life so that my focus and my priorities can be on the work that I'm called here to do in my life. The next attribute of this simplicity is to become happy with what you have. And when we focus our life on spiritual goals, a person automatically diminishes his or her material endeavors, begins to spend more time on spiritual goals, evolving the soul. Are you happy with what you have? Let me tell you this, you'll always be in the mode of acquiring if you don't stop and pause and celebrate what you have and the joy of having it. Yes, Anne, and then David.
You know, on Sunday when John did his meditation, he said, stop praying for things you can't have. And I see you illustrating that with these simplicity rules, you know, stop praying for anything but spiritual value, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, that caught me short. I've been pondering that for a while now.
Well, it might be, as we look at some people who, not to get political, but are praying for, somehow the world sees Donald Trump is elected. Well, stop praying for something you can't have, because it's already been certified and certified and recertified and certified again. And account 3 times in the state of Georgia as an example that says the fact is Vice President Biden elect is our new president. Stop praying for something that isn't meant to be. It's not going to unfold for you. People say, what about all things are possible through God? Yes. Well, all things are possible, and some things have already been manifested for you to say, this door is closed, So there's other things that are there for you. And you're asking, is it just Donald Trump being president? Or are you wanting the values and the things that you hold dear to your heart to unfold? So allow those things to be the unfolding rather than the person. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Good. But supposing you won the lottery and you became a millionaire, how do you keep that simple?
How do you keep that simple? Well, yeah. And the challenge is so many people who have won the lottery, their life is now in turmoil because they don't know how to handle the finances. But just a good tidbit of that is just find a money manager. And phase number 1 is to learn how to live into your wealth. A lot of people, they win the lottery and suddenly the next day they're out buying a big house, buying cars, buying all this kind of stuff. And they realize, how do I take care of it? And how do I pay for it? Because I don't know how I went from here to here. And I didn't have the experience of getting to here. So growing and knowing how to manage and how to work through all these things, and then even questioning yourself, do I really want this? Do I really want a 10-bedroom house? Well, who's going to clean it? Well, now I got to hire 2 maids. Well, now there goes more money out the door. Wait a minute. And what do I need these rooms for? Am I going to go in these rooms? I don't even sit in these rooms. So is it just prestige? Is it ego? You see, we have to learn how to grow into our wealth. Right. So one of the great things is when you win the lottery, just take it easy, take some deep breaths, and learn how to evolve into that. And certainly take your time to let what has been your blessing to be a shared thing that brings about greater blessing in the world around you. The next attribute is this. A living at what? Oh, I'm sorry, David. David had a question. Okay.
Okay, on number 2 where it says become happy with what you have.
Yes.
So live in a state of gratitude.
Definitely.
But there's nothing wrong with desiring more.
No, there isn't. You're right. That's why we want to always bring balance to everything that we're saying. We don't want to get one side or the other. We want to see both sides of everything. Again, things are not bad, but the attachment to things and how they may limit us may be challenging for our lives. Okay? But there may be wonderful people who have maybe possessions, but they let them work for them and through them, and they allow them to be blessings where they can share them. So it becomes part of the evolution of the soul versus the hindrance of the soul. So it is that we learn to be grateful of things and say, in this gratitude, yes, you can desire more, but desiring more for what purpose? To just hold acquisitions or to share, to give, to make the world a better place. Yeah. Yes.
That, and with the concept of giving a gift, that speaks to me about being able to receive a gift. Mm-hmm. If you're literally blindedly happy with what you have and you're making yourself oppressed because of that and sticking with that one viewpoint, it would be very hard to receive a gift and be grateful for it.
Excellent comments and wonderful illustration. Let's move on. The next chapter, enthusiasm. All right. Just do it enthusiastically. How important it is. It's living in inspiration, living with enthusiasm, zeal, and awakened energy. I had to go and pick up my new license plate for my car. And so when it became, she said, well, what license plate would you like? Here's some choices. And I began to read through and thinking, what message would the license plate be? And you know what I chose? It is RZD5777. What does that stand for? Radically Zealous Dude. Number 5 is my birthday, March the 5th. And 3 lucky 7s is perfection, 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 completion, completion, completion. I couldn't ask for better. I said, that's the license plate I want on my vehicle. I love it. I'm going to proclaim I'm a radically zealous dude. Exactly, RZD. So if you see my license plate, you'll know what that message is. I want to live life with all the zeal and enthusiasm I can. So I'm being radically enthusiastic, radically zealous, radically inspirational. Because what happens is motivation is so much a key to our spiritual endeavors as to any activity. What is your zeal, your motivation? What is your inspiration? What is your enthusiasm around meditation? Oh, I have to meditate. Oh, I gotta meditate. oh, it's drudgery. It's just, or, hey, I'm looking forward to spending this time in the silence. I'm zealous. I'm enthusiastic. I am celebrating this with great feeling of this is inspirational to my life. Whatever you do it with zeal. Whatever you do it to the best. Whatever you're doing, don't do it half-heartedly, but put in the enthusiasm into the task. For the proper way to execute the divine will is with energy and with cheerful readiness. The trait of zeal is an ornament to all other traits, and it perfects it. So you may have humility, but offer that humility with zeal, enthusiasm. You may have the gift of equanimity, of calmness of the soul, but offer it to the world with enthusiasm. You may have the gift of generosity, but offer it to the world of enthusiasm, with enthusiasm. Because what happens is this, we can become so drugged into an unconscious state through the repetition of doing things, you know? And what happens is our enthusiasm begins to drain out around it. I do this, you know, I come to church. I work with the homeless community. Oh, every Wednesday night, it's routine, it's routine, it's routine, it's routine. And before you know, we kind of dull ourselves into an unconscious state that says, I don't know if I'm really enjoying this anymore. How about we bring in the gift of zeal and enthusiasm? I'm excited about working for the homeless. I'm looking for some new opportunity, something new I can do. I can, you know, make a different sandwich with some other kinds of ingredient, or I'm going to bag it up with some love, or I'm going to put a note inside this to-go meal. I'm going to do something that just really ups my game with enthusiasm towards it. Because what happens is when we're drifting along with no passion for living, and we're just repeating the same thing over and over again, well, it's really missing the mark. Because we fall into this unconscious state. And some people have said to me, Pastor, how do you keep it alive? You've been a pastor for 40-some years. Every Sunday you go to church. Every Sunday you got to have a talk. Every week you're doing the same things over and over again. How do you keep it exciting? It's because you've got to bring the gift of enthusiasm and zeal to no matter what you're doing. Otherwise, it just becomes rote and routine. And so when you begin to think, what new and enthusiastic thing can we do? How can we see it, what we do from a different perspective and a different outlook? It re-energizes us and keeps us going. Yes?
And that takes a degree of creativity. That everybody's got creativity in them.
Yep.
It's not like you don't have it. Claim it.
Exactly. And set that creativity on fire with a little ounce of enthusiasm. Putting it into, I'm going to do this enthusiastically. So when windows of opportunity open in life, just remember that these may be invitations from God. And are you quick to recognize and act on the ones that are for your good? That's really important. Are we enthusiastic? Are we zealous? Are we feeling this energy? And when a door opens in our life, that we're eager and ready to respond to that which is good and open for us. Because let me tell you this, a lot of us in the journey of our life here on this earth, we've missed open doors. We've let them slip by because we didn't act or respond with a spirit of enthusiasm and zeal towards what was offered to us. And it is the early bird that gets the worm. And sometimes we have not been the early bird. Sometimes we are not the one who moves the quickest with enthusiasm. Oh, well, maybe, kind of, and we postpone, we procrastinate, we put off, and we just look at it, well, it's too much, and the enthusiasm is out the door, and we don't respond to open doors that are there for us. Laziness thrives on rationalization. You know, people want to rationalize everything. Well, I would do that if only. Why bother? And so we begin to rationalize all these things, and these inner voices then try to keep us from doing things that are positive, and they lead us down the spiraling pathway into negativity. Let me tell you this. Negativity will drain your enthusiasm. You know? And I'm going to tell you this. Over my 42 years of pastoral work, I've encountered people who've just been negative, and they drain the enthusiasm and growth out of the church. You know, well, you don't want to come to church here because, you know, it's the same old thing. The music's the same old thing, and people are the same old people, and everything, you know, and that negativity, whining. Well, the newcomers come to church and say, "Hi, I came to see this church." Well, it's the same old thing, and you're not going to be that crazy about it. Well, they don't come. They grow. They go on to somewhere else because that negativity around the church has just drained the zeal and enthusiasm of these new people who came to visit. Now, on the other hand, I've encountered some incredible people that meet these visitors and say, "You're going to love this church. It's exciting. There's all kinds of wonderful things going on. Would you like to get involved? Is there a place where you want to serve and do ministry? Or you just want to grow spiritually? Just come on out. We've got classes. We got this. We got that." You see, the enthusiasm and energy is catchy. And those who imparted that enthusiasm to the visitor, well, that visitor is with us today. So what we want to find out is that, realize in our life is that when we open up our door to negativity, it's going to drain all of our enthusiasm. Cultivate your enthusiasm by awakening to the good that is already present. Start looking for the good that's already here. Start examining and awakening to the good. We may not see the good in most situations because we're always thinking about what needs to be improved. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, you know, well, this is a nice room. The Wisdom Center's lovely, but you know what? It sure would be nicer if we had different chairs, or if you had different bookcases. It sure would be nicer if you had this or that. It sure would be nicer, you know." And on goes the list of things that we would say that need to be improved, and we can't see the good to say, "Wait a minute. This Wisdom Center has tripled in size. Wait a minute. Look at all the wonderful resources that are here. Wait a minute. Look at all the windows with light coming in. Look, oh, there's just so much amazing stuff that's already here that we can be grateful for." So we can be enthusiastic about everything that we experience when we start looking, what's the good you see right here? Not looking what needs to be improved, but what is the good in this moment, right here, right now. And that's the same with people. Sometimes you may look and say, "Well, you know, this person's really nice. It would be nice if they lost weight, if they were kinder, if they improved themselves, and if they were more positive, or if they did this or that." Well, wait a minute. Stop and see the good in the person right now. What's the good? Not the fact that they need to change or they need to improve. Just stop and say, "This is the good that I see in this person right here, right now, in this moment." So living with awakened gratitude delivers the fuel to make our actions more energetic. Wow, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for the experiences in life. I'm grateful for the people around me. I'm grateful because what happens is it just ignites a spirit of energy and enthusiasm in your life. Let me tell you this. Nothing's more youthful and vibrant than the spirit of good energy and enthusiasm, no matter what age you may be. But you know what? As you get older, the negativity comes in, the jadedness, the energy goes out, and before you know, we're like, all we do is we find these old cantankerous people who complain about everything and are grumpy and negative. But wow, change them around and give them a shot of enthusiasm and zeal and inspiration, and suddenly they gain, it's like they've lost 10 years. They gain youth and vitality in them because they're vibrant, energetic, optimistic, and positive. And that's where we want to remain to be at all times in our life. Awakened to the wonderful spirit of gratitude that just ignites energy within us and enthusiasm. Well, this is today's class, and we've looked through some wonderful attributes for our life of things that we want to work through. So we hope that you are checking them out as we form our curriculum in the weeks ahead, saying, you know, there's some things that I really want to work on. Is it equanimity, a calmness of the soul? Is it really a desire to learn how to honor people better? Or is it simplicity, that you'd like to see your life be more simple so you can focus on the things that really are of importance for you? Or is it about having the gift of enthusiasm that you can share with others? So as we conclude today's class, I'm going to ask you who are joining us through our live streaming, what's your takeaway? And we encourage you to type in what you've taken away from our discussion. Let us know what sort of nugget of truth or what's really spoke to you or what really resonates within your spirit from this class time type it in and let us know. And our registrar, Dr. David Carter, will read it to me and we can have this dialogue and exchange. Appreciate that. And let's begin then with those who are gathered in our classroom. Let's find out what their takeaway is as we look through this class session. Let's begin with Anne. Tell me, what's your takeaway from today's session?
Okay, well, I've been known in my meditation and prayer to say to God, what's next? But I've learned to say, what's next? Because I'm keeping in mind that the feeling of expectancy is more important than actually knowing what's coming next. And that I guess that, I don't know what heading that comes under, but that came to me during today. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Brenda, what's your takeaway?
That we should live in the moment, because when you live in the moment, then you're not stressed about what's coming next or what has happened, and your life is much calmer.
Right. Beautiful. Steve, what's your takeaway?
Two things. The first is when we were talking about finality, like what if this kills me or whatever, and Brenda said, well, we've always been here. That had resonance with me because it seems like, yeah, that's true. We've been here. We've always been here. And of course, I think about, that what Jesus said about, before Abraham was, I am. And that's the truth. We've always been here, and we will always be here. We should not ever look at death as the final act.
Right.
We will always still be here.
Right.
But the second thing is this whole class today was really a big takeaway for me. I mean, we've had classes before where they were good, but there were some that were, quite exceptional. And I think that's what this class is here today. And the thing that I enjoy more, I guess if there's a good thing about the pandemic, is that it has made us start going online, broadcasting our classes, and as a result, we can, they're all recorded. Because I'm going to be going back over this class quite a few more times because of how much, we went over and a lot of the, just really, gems that came out today. I mean, there was great discussion, kind of made me feel like how class was before the pandemic.
Right.
It just had that good vibe.
Good interaction.
Maybe it's the room.
It's the room.
Could be the room.
Good.
But this is one of those things where it's quite exceptional. And I'm glad that we finally caught it on video, on audio, so that we can always go back. Because this is going to be one of those things where we're just going to, the more you listen to it, the more you go back, the more you're going to get out of it.
Great. Excellent. Dr. David Carter, what's your takeaway?
See and treat every person as a God being. See the soul that's in them. And in calmness, view challenges as opportunities for growth of the soul.
Oh, wonderful. I can't tell you how important it is to just start looking at people as souls, not bodies, but souls. And that they're an extension of you. Because we're all an extension of God. And we're all of God. So we're all interconnected. How beautiful that is. All right, do we have any other takeaways from our live streaming audience? If not, well, we'll look forward to you making comments maybe later on or typing them in as you view this class at your own time that's convenient for you. I'm glad that you joined us today. And if you have found these classes to be of great, vital importance to your life and helping you along your journey, well, out of gratitude for all that you've experienced, I'm sure you'd like to make a donation. You can go to our website at www.cityoflightatlanta.com and offer a gift, an expression of gratitude for all that you've received through the teaching today and through the work of the Emerson Institute to bring about spiritual enrichment to people's lives. God bless you. I know that you're going to have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you Sunday at 11 a.m. for our celebration service on this same Facebook location or via our YouTube channel, City of Light Atlanta. And then again next Thursday, 10 a.m. for our class. We apologize for starting a little bit late due to some complications, but hey, we were calm in the soul through it all, and we're making it through all the experiences of everything that may come our way. So we'll look forward to joining us next week, Thursday at 10 a.m. God bless you. Have a great week. I know God has something special in store for you.